Let me welcome you to the Smokebox. Windows up, couple in rotation. Hot boxed out.
Welcome back to another episode of the BReal TV Smokebox. I am Dr. Greenthumb, A.K.A. BReal, here with my good friend and legend and pioneer. I mean, there's a lot of labels this man can go under. Very good things. Mr. Steve DeAngelo.
One plant, one people, one truth. We all share the same destiny, and I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, today that destiny is victory.
You've been requested in this box, you know, like no other. People have often, hit me up saying you need to have Steve DeAngelo in the box. And here you are.
Here I am. Great place to be.
Oh, yes.
I'll tell you, man, I need to be in the box after the day I've had. I've been at a conference all day, meetings, pitches.
It's
I'm ready.
whirlwind for you right now.
It is.
And the reason being is because of this book right here, Cannabis Manifesto. Like, I mean, amongst all your endeavors, I mean, and some of them are unprecedented. I mean, the Harborside is just... it's like a monument in California to me, you know what I mean? This was the first place that actually showed how it should be done. I mean, the first time I was taken into that building with my man Chang Weisberg Guerrilla Union, it blew me away, the way that you had that going on, and I had so much respect. And then I know the history of the things that you've done as an activist, but now we got this here book.
You got the book.
Cannabis Manifesto. I could ask you what inspired you to write it, but I know. But like, out of all, like, you had so much shit going on. When did you find the time?
Well, I just had to stop doing everything else that I was doing for about 6 months and totally focus on doing the book because I knew it was a really important thing to do. Why did I write it? Because it's time to pour a big barrel of gasoline on this fire that we've been building for a while. It's time to blow this thing up and get it done. I was at this investment conference all day today, talking to people about making a lot of money off of cannabis. Yesterday, I got a letter from my buddy Chuck. He's in prison in Pennsylvania for making money off of cannabis. Right? So we got to get this thing done.
Yeah, and I think people are more open-minded these days. Even people, obviously, people in our culture, we're always open-minded to it. I mean, we're the ones fighting for it, the freedom fighters, as they've often called, our culture, pushing towards legalization. But I believe that now there's the person who is like, more sympathetic to the cause, that they're not necessarily smokers, but they see the potential in the help that it could give medically and economically. And that's where you come in. A lot of information, a lot of education is coming in this book, and it's, pulling the veils off, kind of like Emperor Wears No Clothes did in a different sort of way in the modern time, like right now with all these social networks.
Yeah, it's a new time and a new era. It's been 30 years since Jack Herer wrote The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and that was a phenomenal book. It reset.
Taught a lot of us a lot, everything.
Yeah, right. It totally changed the way we ourselves looked at cannabis, right?
Right.
But now, 30 years have gone by. A lot of new science, a lot of new history, a lot of new political developments.
Right.
So I felt like it was time to really update all of that.
Yeah, and I think coming from you, it validates it. It gives it so much validation because, the years of activism that you put into it, pushing legalization, pushing decriminalization and all that stuff. And, as well as putting yourself on the line and creating, one of the first major collectives. I mean, that's all like a big deal. Because a lot of people saw what you were doing and said, we need to do it like Steve. And you even, offered to teach people these things, like show them the way to make this right. And I think a lot of people in Denver, probably came in and took the notes on what you were doing down there. But I still think that even though they're legal, your place is the one that's ran the most legitimate. Like, to me, like the way that it should be, like it's flowing, inviting, and then you have all those different flavors there, and just the organization of it it's amazing.
Well, thanks. But what I wanted to do there was realize this dream that I've always had of creating an environment for cannabis that was really worthy of how amazing that this plant is, like a temple,
Right.
a temple for cannabis.
That's what it feels like. And it feels secure. You know, back in the time when I first went down there, it felt dodgy to go in some of these places. But the way that you had it arranged and organized and the vibe, it was inviting, and it felt like, hey, you know, it feels right to be in here. And I think that's some shit that a lot of these guys can learn. But, you know, I think it takes to read this book and to learn about the man who invested the time and research. How long was the research for this book, like, you know, that you had to do before you actually put it all together?
Oh, like 40 years, right?
40
You know, it's been my
years.
whole lifetime.
Yeah, the whole lifetime,
you know?
right?
But the really intense research and writing, I got all done in about 6 months. And the amazing thing was, I actually changed my own mind about some of the things that I thought about cannabis in the course of writing
As
the
you
book.
were writing it.
Because I got a chance to dig really, really deep. So
Right.
it was a learning experience for me too.
What do you think is the most the chapter that you look at, like, that they can get the most from, like, that is gonna blow their fucking mind?
Yeah, so I think that for people who are already into cannabis, well, maybe even for people who aren't into cannabis, the most original idea is in chapter 4, and that's where I lay out what I call my wellness theory, right?
Right.
And wellness theory goes something like this. You know, people come up to me at different conferences all the time,
Right.
and they'll say something to me like, "Man, I totally support what you're doing with patients. You know, right on, great work. Me, I smoke weed too, but I'm not a patient. I'm not
Right.
sick, right? I just like to get high."
Right.
So then I talk to them. I ask them some questions, right? So, when do you get high? Why do you smoke? How does it make you feel? What benefits is it bringing to your life? How is your life different now that you're using cannabis?
Right.
And they'll say something to me like, well, before cannabis, I'd get off of work, I'd be tired, maybe pissed off at my boss, maybe frustrated. I'd, you know, get a sour stomach, my back would be hurting, I'd be frustrated in rush hour traffic. Didn't really feel like going home and playing with my
Right.
kids or telling my wife what a lousy day I had. Food didn't taste very good. You know, my stomach was upset after dinner. I'd sit down in the easy chair, crash out in front of the TV,
Right.
wake up in the middle of the night, and go in bed to a pissed off wife. Right?
The hustle and
with-
bustle.
Right? You know, and that's many people's
That's
lives.
many people. That's
right? You know?
yeah.
But with cannabis, my stomach's not sour. I'm not frustrated. I'm not pissed off at the end of the day. My
Always
back
relaxed.
isn't hurting, right? I'm looking forward to getting home. And playing with my kids is more fun for me than it is for them, right? Doesn't matter how bad my day is. Reuniting with my wife is a real moment of tenderness and joy.
Right.
The meal always tastes good. My digestion's great. After dinner, we put the kids to bed. We have a little extra special intimate time.
Word.
I sleep a sound night. I wake up in the morning. I'm ready to go. Right?
I'm well.
I'm well. Right? Now, the same person goes to a doctor and gives them that story. The doctor's like, oh, anxiety, insomnia, erectile dysfunction, acid reflux, a whole list of diseases, right? You turn on the
To
TV
give
every
them that
night.
over the counter bullshit to deal with something they don't even have.
Well, not even the over-the-counter bullshit. You look on television every night and you see a whole fucking parade of commercials,
Yeah.
right? That are talking about anxiety and depression and acid reflux and rheumatoid arthritis, and they got a list of side effects like something out of a Stephen King novel,
Like
right?
60 fucking side effects.
Right, liver failure, suicidal ideation,
Sometimes
possible death,
possible
cancer.
death, yes.
You know,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
for stuff that's supposed to make your eyes brighter, right?
Right.
So for most people, this is the safe, natural alternative.
So in that chapter, the wellness, it's basically, instead of getting high, you're getting well.
You're getting well, like, so there's all these overlooked wellness benefits, right? I call them overlooked wellness. Sparking your creativity, right? Enhancing the flavor of a meal, or the touch of your lover's skin, or the sound of music, extending your sense of patience.
You know what? It does, in fact, heighten those senses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it heightens reaction time. Like something physical like that, I don't think it, you know, because in some sports they consider it a banned substance because it could possibly could possibly be a performance
Enhancer.
enhancement drugs. Now, I don't think that applies to athletes in in their ability to get on the shit. I think it's within focus. Like, I think you could focus better on certain things, but something physical like that, I think it might take you back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Depends on who you are.
Depends on who you are.
And what kind of cannabis you're using. Now remember, back in the day,
Right.
there was like two kinds of cannabis, the kind you had and the kind you couldn't get, right? You
And
know?
I'm glad you're breaking this down, because rookies wouldn't know this type of thing.
That's how it was in the day. But now, what we've learned is that there's like 400 different chemical compounds in the cannabis plant that can affect the human body.
Right.
And each one of them is different, right? So depending on which ratio of those compounds you've got in the particular batch of cannabis that you're using, you can have one effect or a different effect.
Right. Some's more of a physical effect, where you're feeling euphoric, but like in your physical sense, and then the other affects the head,
Right.
the brain.
So
it's a little heavier.
Exactly. So get this, we've got folks who are using THCA, right? THCA is the natural form of THC in the plant. Unless you heat it up, it's not going to get you high. It's not going to have any kind of mind effect on you, right?
Right.
It's still a really powerful bronchodilator. It opens up your lungs and your blood vessels.
People with asthma and such.
So it actually is a performance enhancer for some athletes. Ryan Miller,
Right.
an incredible veteran who works at Harborside, has come in first or second in a number of marathons while using THCA.
Do you think it affects like fighters? Like, like in the UFC or the boxing and stuff like that? Because one fighter just got suspended for 5 years because they found THC in his blood system, his blood test.
I don't see THC as being a performance enhancer for
Not-
fighters.
Not in that
right?
arena.
Not in that arena.
That's what I'm saying. I think, like, for some things, yes.
Yes.
For some people, some athletes,
Yeah.
but I don't know about fighting, because
No,
your
that's-
reaction time might be a little slow. But I don't even think they're looking at it on that end. I think that the judges there, or the refs, or whoever it is making the call on that on the commission, really thinks that that's something that's going to improve their performance in the ring. And I think that the suspension is too harsh.
Oh, it's bullshit. Okay. First of all, he wasn't spliffing up before he went into the
No.
ring. Okay, he was spliffing up after he got out of the ring because he was all beat up. Okay,
Right.
we all know that. Okay,
Right.
So that's ridiculous. Okay, and they have probably the kind of testing technology they had. They couldn't determine when, at what time,
Yeah.
he consumed the cannabis.
still
Because
don't have
most
that
of the
down.
tests, it can range anywhere from 30 days to 120. Took me 120 days when I got arrested and they started piss testing me. It took 120 days for my urine to come clean. I only stayed clean for a day or two.
Yeah, well, you know how it goes. I mean, we're medicating most of the time. We're getting well. We're spending our time getting well and taking care of things, handling business. I mean, I think the stereotypes of what our culture is have been broken and redefined, because there's a lot of people that are out there actually making moves and doing progressive things and showing that they're responsible taxpayers and that can conduct business and whatnot. I think they're looking at the culture a lot different, and that's why you're getting a lot of hedge fund people involved in this particular culture now.
Yep.
And I mean, I think that's due to the flag you've been raising for years, showing people how it's done, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the appreciation.
You know what I'm saying?
I've had a great time doing it.
Right on, man. Before we go, this is always the last question in the Smokebox, and I mean, you have many flavors that come into play when it comes into the stoner's life. What is your favorite flavor that you like to blaze up?
Right now,
Yeah.
It's got to be Tony Verzora's Chirp Juice.
Ooh, the terp juice. So you're doing the concentrates as well.
Oh yeah, and I'm my flavor of the hour is a solvent-free extract, dipped in a nice terp juice.
Nice.
Hit on an e-nail.
Hit on an e-nail.
Now my favorite strain of all time, Neville's Original Haze.
Neville's Original Haze, and you carry that at Harborside, right?
I don't think that
Sometimes-
I can say with certainty that we have ever had Neville's Original Haze at Harborside.
Yeah,
That is
everybody always attaches their shitty weed to a label sometimes, and they lie about the strain, and one can never really know.
I don't think that, honestly, I don't think I've smoked Neville's original haze in a good 20 years plus.
Yeah, I've only ever heard about it. Hey, I want to thank you for taking the time.
Great to be here.
Coming
Thanks
in the
for having me.
Smokebox. My man Steve DeAngelo, legend. Fucking, I mean, there's too many labels to describe this man, so I'm gonna stay with legend and teacher.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And you mean a lot to this culture, man. And you being in this box is a great thing. And you guys got to learn about this guy. If you don't know about him, you take the time and educate yourself, because you can learn a lot from this man right here. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel. Any things you want to say in parting?
Watch BReal TV.
There it is. Right.
Let me welcome you to the smoke box. Windows up, couple in rotation. Hot boxed out.